I give thanks to Mother, Father, God for bringing us all together as we support each other in the knowing we are directed and supported through the love and power of God. And so, okay. And now I would like to give our statement of intent. We are fortunate to have a variety of speakers for Sunday services. By using guest speakers, we gain wisdom from all those who share. This is a church where we can worship the God of our own understanding, a place to experience joy and be uplifted, a place where we can gain strength and inspiration to share with all we meet throughout the week. We invite you to join us in this celebration of life, to nourish your spirit and enjoy the company of kindred souls. Um, oh, we need to unmute ourselves. Do you, for announcements? I said it too early. Anybody have any announcements, prayer requests for anybody? Okay. I'm going to then say our principles. We believe in infinite intelligence. We believe that the phenomena of nature, both physical and spiritual, are the expression of infinite intelligence. We affirm that a correct understanding of such expression and living in accordance therewith constitute true religion. We affirm that the existence and identity of the individual continue after the change called death. We believe in our universal connection in spirit and that there is communication between the spiritual and physical worlds. We believe that the highest morality is contained in the golden rule: whatsoever you would that others should do unto you, do we also unto them. We affirm the moral responsibility of individuals and that we make our own happiness or unhappiness as we obey or disobey nature's physical and spiritual laws. We affirm that the doorway to reformation is never closed against any human soul here or hereafter. We affirm that the precepts of prophecy and healing are divine attributes contained in all sacred texts. Okay. So I would like to invite Virginia to come forward and, like you're in church. We are in church. What am I thinking? It's yours, Virginia. Thank you.
Okay. There was an earlier question that Carol sent me and asked for a little bit of background information. I've led a rather eclectic life. I was taken into the spiritualist church when I was living in New York. This was back in the 60s and 70s. I got out of college in the 60s and then got to New York. So I'm an East Coast person, born and raised, Massachusetts. Lived in, Virginia, DC, Pennsylvania, went to school in Pennsylvania, a variety of things like that. I've lived abroad for many years. I lived in Poland for 11 years. I taught at the university, so university prof. But that's only one small title, and it's just a title. Lots of experience over there, really enjoying that locale. Came back and landed in Texas, and then didn't manage to get out of there for, better part of 25 years. But now I'm up here, and I have worked in the legal field as well as the health field, as well as teaching, and that goes from grade school through college. So if anybody has any questions, of course, I'll be happy to answer them. Maybe as after we get over and get through the church process that's in the process now. I understand that I think now is the time where we'll do a short healing session. And so healing for me has been a variety of things. It's mental, emotional, hands-on. I've done a lot of hands-on healing, but healing really comes from within. And so I'd like us all to think for a few minutes about how we're feeling from within and see if there's something there that we might perhaps like to mitigate, not necessarily change, because sometimes things are happening with us that we need to experience, and yet at the same time, we can experience them potentially faster, and we can do that through healing. Um, Healing can be, as I said, mental, physical, emotional. And so I'd like us all to take a deep breath and um, kind of band together, if you like, as a group. Think of us, if you'd like, as sitting in a circle. You know the facility, the church that our church is located at. I don't, but I can imagine a large room where we're all sitting in a circle, and we're pooling our energy towards the center of the room and pooling it and bringing light to it and asking that light come down and join us, that we may all be filled with light, and in being filled with light, be healed. Also, as we're sitting quietly and seeing the light come down through the center of the room, it's very possible that you won't actually see your neighbor sitting next to you, and certainly potentially not your neighbor across the way. But that doesn't mean they're not part of our circle and part of our healing process. Healing takes place at various levels, and so I'd like to see the healing light first spread across the floor so that it reaches all of our feet. And as the healing energy reaches our feet, that it slowly moves up and covers every part of our body, and that we're enjoying very much this feeling of peace and quiet and white light that is part of the energy of the universe that we always bring to healing circles. As we sit and we take a deep breath and we pull in the energy, hold it for a second, and let it out slowly. As we do that, we'll feed the energy into the center of the room, and that healing energy, that bright light that's in the center, will clear any energy that's necessary. We'll take another deep breath, bring in the energy, feel the energy now having covered our bodies, and now we're receiving it through our heads. The healing energy is coming down. Now, I'd like to, while it's focused on our heads, I'd like each of you to think of anybody that you know that is in need of any healing energy of any kind, whether it be mental, physical, emotional, any kind of healing necessary. And even if the person at this point hasn't asked you for healing, it's always better if they ask, but it's not necessary. You can provide it to their environment, asking that the healing energy be provided to wherever it is that they are. And as that person thinks of you or thinks of feeling better and thinks of things that are necessary in their lives, that the healing energy will enter and help them to stabilize and to feel better. Um, it's always, as I said, better if we can ask beforehand, but or be asked in advance, simply because that makes the connection much easier for them to receive energy, particularly if it's from outside of their immediate surroundings. I'd like everybody to take a deep breath. And for a moment, we're going to close our eyes and you're going to reimagine yourself sitting in your chair, in your home, or your locale, wherever you're watching this. Feel yourself return to your body. Feel yourself move your fingers and open your eyes. And welcome back. Okay, today's homily is a little bit kind of like healing. It's a focus about being in the here and now. We, especially today with the pandemic on, we spend a lot of time trying to reach out to others and to be part of something that is longer or more, how can I say, uh, just outside of ourselves. And because we worry about if they have food, if they have this, if they have that. And what happens is that we get a little bit further away from where we are. We're either trying to compensate for something that's happened in the past, or we're trying to predict something that's about to come in the future. Being in the moment, however, is one of those things that actually, if we individually can each be in the moment of our lives, we'll be more prepared to actually act or react to the things that have happened in the past, or we'll be more prepared to be able to move forward and be able to do something for someone else. Also, it's a bit difficult since we all, well, many of us are singletons in our house. And so we do rely a great deal on being able to reach out. And very often that means looking at schedules and so on and so forth. However, being in the moment isn't just something that happens naturally, because all of our media tries to get us to either go back and look at all the things that have happened, or they keep worrying about what's going to happen in the future. So the more we pay attention to outside influences, then the harder it gets for us sometimes to stop, take a couple of minutes of our own time and simply say, where am I? What am I doing right now? Am I worrying about where my food is? Am I worrying about where my friend's food is? Am I worrying about a bill that has come in and you say, oh my goodness, how am I going to get this taken care of? And simply take a deep breath, much like you might in a meditation, but you don't have to do it for a long period of time. It's a matter of taking 5 minutes, but perhaps taking 5 minutes 2 or 3 times a day. Being in the moment is a Zen thing in many ways. Many people assume that that's where it all comes from. But if we actually take a good look at a variety of religions that have come down the pike, they all promote time alone. Last week we heard from Michael and his very interesting and I thought wonderful take on silence. And sometimes we need to also remember that we need 5 minutes of silence. And again, it's a matter of being able to take a deep breath, count to 10, say, where am I? Am I worried? Okay. let me take the worry and I'm just going to put it in a package and I'm going to put it down for 5 minutes. I'm not going to think about it for 5 minutes. Am I in pain? A lot of us have many discomforts in our body, and they do take up a great deal of energy. So if we're in pain, we can say, okay, fine. It's hard to turn off pain, but let me make a package and I'm going to put it down for 5 minutes and then I can come back to it. And in the 5 minutes, by simply taking a deep breath and slowly letting go of all of the things that are kind of itching our, how can I say, our energy, our I want to say our body of energy, different than itching necessarily our physical body. Part of that means that there's a peace for 5 minutes. And if 5 minutes isn't possible, 3 minutes is good. There's no specific thing that you absolutely, there's no specific time. The idea is being able to stop for 5 minutes or 3 minutes and simply be wherever it is that you've sat down or simply stopped moving, or because if you're waiting for a plane or you're waiting for an appointment someplace, those are pretty good times to have that 5 minutes, because at the end of the 5 minutes, I think you'll find that you're more clear about all of those little packages that you left there. And if you start looking at the packages, I think you're going to find potentially that your pain has lessened, if that's what you put in a package, that your worry, it hasn't gone away, but you understand it a little bit better. You can handle it a bit better. The process of all of these things give us a moment in which to allow, if you want, inspiration to arrive, allow the universe to provide help with perhaps making the packages smaller or giving some incentive to the packages to understand that they aren't as urgent as you think they are, because you realize you've got a little bit more time to take care of it. So being in the moment is, in some ways, it's when you first start to do it, it's a bit difficult, because we're so used to getting up and charging through our day and then dropping and going to bed. And I think that as the process happens, the 5 minutes a day, if you take it maybe once, if that's all you have the time for, that's fine. If you do it twice, I think that by the time you get to the end of your day, you're going to be in better shape to actually be able to go to bed, take a deep breath, say, I think I have done that. I think I have done that. And so I will be able to sleep better. And I think that, I'm sorry, I need to take a deep breath myself and be here in the moment, not worried about whether or not I'm making sense or not. I think I am. One of the other things is that I'm also a little nervous about the time frame, because I'm used to teaching university classes. They run an hour and not a half. So I think I am getting to be near the end of my speech. And I'd like to, particularly if being in the present, if for any reason you think you find that difficult, perhaps spending 5 minutes, instead of just trying to be quiet, writing out what you're feeling. Just write for 5 minutes. That's also a way of being in the moment, because if you're writing, you have to pay attention to the words that you're using. You have to be aware that, oh yes, this is a thing, I'm taking this. Okay, that's a package, I can put that down and I can do something else for 5 minutes. And so in that process, we ask always, when you sit, ask the universe to provide you with inspiration and comfort during your 5 minutes of simply, I am here. Nowhere else. I'm not worried about where I'm going to go tomorrow. I'm not worried about getting a vaccine. I'm not worried about, I don't know, my cat. I'm just here. I'm just sitting. I'm just being with each of you as we meet today. And it's very important in many ways that we enjoy this process of being together from time to time, because this is how we reach out in the moment to a variety of people, and many of them might need universal help, and in which case we do that with our healing. That's one way. But we also do it by simply being together and being aware that these are the people, this group of people. I don't know all of your names, and I can't scroll fast enough to be able to call everybody by their name. Maybe someday that'll happen, that I'll know everybody's name. I'm still very new to the area, but hopefully reaching out to people. And so we're here, we're now. We're not anywhere else. We're a spiritual group professing our faith in the fact that the universe provides, professing our faith that we can speak to the universe and that the universe speaks to us. And it can do so in many different ways. We are a group together in the moment, right now, reaching out to help each other in any way that we can. We might not know what everybody needs right now. We might not be aware at all of someone that is in need of healing, or in need of financial help, or in need of food, or in need of something else. But we can ask the universe to help us energetically as a group provide for all of that. But we can only do it when we are really together and in the moment. We can do it individually when we stop for that 5 minutes a day. But as a group, we are more powerful. As a group, we have more further reaching help that we can provide to the town or the area that we live in. I know that lots of people, well, I don't know how many, but I know that there are people from Colorado and Florida and other places that join us. And each of us lives in an area that has potential people that need help, but we don't know who they are. But if we can send out the energy in our individual communities, asking the universe to provide for people, we don't have to have a way how it's going to happen. We sometimes don't even have to have the what. But we do have to have the request out there so that the universe knows that we care. Being in the moment can be personally very, very powerful. We're in the moment here. And I think that each of you is probably feeling connected in a way that being in the moment here, we are pushing energy. We are providing help. We don't know to who. We might think we know who, but those are the things that sometimes putting a name on something actually isn't necessary. Giving it out there with the love and the care that each of us has within us, which again is one of the things that we share in this church. And this is why, in many ways, meeting together, enjoying camaraderie, laughing, exchanging information, people know more about what's happening, and reaching out to others saying, how are we going to get this done? That's another way to do it. I think I've come to a normal, natural conclusion at this point. And I wish to thank each and every one of you for being kind and generous to invite me, as well as to kindly sit and listen. I hope that in this process, you've each received the blessings that you need in your life and the blessings for your family, including any forepaws that are hanging around. I'm particularly aware of that. I've got 4 forepaws, so they've all disappeared. They do that regularly. They're all sleeping upstairs on the bed because I left the door open to the bedroom. So they automatically disappear up there. So if anybody has any questions, I'd be glad to answer any questions so you can unmute yourself and welcome back. And I think we've done most of what we need to do for today. And again, anybody has any questions or wants any further background, one of the things I think I worked with Carol this week with dealing with angels. And so at some point in time, I would be happy to work or to, I don't know, speak on working with angels. That's another thing I like to do a lot. I find them very effective. So, and it's universe energy. You can call them anything you need to call them. I used to call them spirit guides at one point, and I'm a Gemini, and so I had 2 very active ones. And we used to call them spirit guides and Indian guides and masters and so on and so forth when I was in New York, which is where I was ordained. So that's also a small piece of information.
Okay.
Carol, are we back?
We are back. Thank you, Virginia. What a blessing to all of us to have you here.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful for your words and everything. I wish we could all clap.
Yeah.
We can.
See you.
Anyone, do you have any questions for Virginia right now? Speak up. You may. This is your time. Nobody? Yeah. Maybe at some point.
That was
Okay.
very insightful. I enjoyed that very much. So you're living in the Duluth area now?
Yes, I'm living in Duluth. I live on 5th Street, East 5th Street.
Okay.
Oh.
Very
So
nice.
what brought you to Duluth?
Actually, the person in whose house I'm living right now, she very much wanted me to come to Duluth. And so I finally said, okay. And I picked up all my sticks and I came to Duluth in
Aw.
September. Now, it was a very, I'm retired 2 years now, from MD Anderson Cancer Center in Houston. And so I've worked in the medical field for a long time. I've worked in the legal field for a very long time, various forms of legal work. And I've taught at university, I've taught in high school, I've taught in a grammar school, but only for 1 year. So I enjoy teaching little kids up to a point.
Quite a diverse background.
Well, how can my background, I don't know. I've always strangely been a person without goals. That doesn't sound like a very good thing, especially since so much these days is goal oriented. And I'll tell you, I've had therapists that really tried to pin me down and it didn't work. I would do whatever was right in front of me next. I could feel I was ending something. And then I knew that what popped up next, that's where I was going. That's what I was going to do. I ended up in Poland that way. I went for vacation. And I was there for eventually for 11 years, though I did come home for a short period in the middle of that. But I was there for 11 years, teaching at university and teaching in various other areas, actually working in the Polish government. I'm sorry. Whoops, there we go. My phone keeps providing me with information I don't need. And so I've worked in foreign investment, and I've worked in Polish law. So I mean, whatever was there, and I ended up mostly in Texas by default, and then there was nothing in front of me. Texas was a very difficult process. So I am quite happy to be out. Every time it snows so far, I go out and go, oh, it's snowing.
That'll get old.
So I'm sure the people in Florida, although Colorado is probably the similar thing with lots of snow, but I've missed it for so long that I'm still excited, very much excited about being here.
Well, we'll see how you feel in March.
Okay, we can check in on that. I have no big. Listen, I've been without it for at least a third of my life, so I have a lot of catching up to do. You know.
I can relate to your Texas experience. I spent 24 years there myself.
Really? Where were you at in Texas?
In Houston, and then I retired in Austin.
Well, I was all of my time in Houston, and
Yeah,
it's like I couldn't pull my feet out of the muck.
Yeah, I can relate to that.
Hey.
Every morning was 95, 95.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So,
Any other questions or comments? Comments welcome too.
okay.
Can I improve anything that I said?
There's no way you can improve anything you said.
How about if you all try it for a week and then tell me, can I improve on it? How's that?
You're awesome.
I'm glad you moved to Duluth.
We are very happy to have you here. So
Thank you.
Yes.
Just
We
jump.
can continue on. I just want to thank you all for your support of Lake Superior Interfaith Community Church and for your donations. Feel free to continue to send your donations at 1414 East 9th Street, Duluth 55805. I am at the church at least every other day, if not every day, checking the mailbox. So nothing is going to be stolen outside of the mailbox. But we're grateful for everything. Thank you so much, everybody. I would like to say the church affirmation now. We totally accept the belief that God is in charge of the affairs and direction of Lake Superior Interfaith Community Church. We know that as our thoughts of trust and joyful anticipation join in harmony with the thoughts of all the members of this fellowship, we attract the right ministerial leadership to our spiritual community. And we are grateful. Amen. Okay. So
What's the name of the kitty? What's the name of the kitty?
This is Miko.
Hi, Miko. Hey, Miko.
What several?
As I said, all of mine disappeared. So maybe next week they'll come. We'll see.
okay.
They have to get used to the time frame. I'm not usually up and about quite so early every day. Retirement is a good thing for me.
Cats seem to have their own agenda,
That's a fact.
I have to say, Carolyn Brooks, every time you're sitting there and that giraffe is by your head, it just makes me smile. It's just so cool.
Yeah, that's a goofy looking giraffe.
Well, thanks, Sandra McKay. She was on my case for years, making me pull him up out of the basement and get him back upstairs.
Oh, he's great.
That is great.
How many guests do you have now, Carolyn?
Huh?
How many guests do you have?
My daughter, 2 16-year-old grandchildren, and then Carl, a friend of my daughter's, who's doing some work for me and is struggling in a relationship. So
You always have
got a full house.
Yes. Okay.
Uh,
I would like to say our final benediction, which is a unity prayer. And it is a prayer for protection. So the light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. And
All is well.
All is well.
Yes.
Oh, so cool. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Virginia, from the bottom.
Thank
top,
you.
Thank you.
everywhere else.
Yes,
Look
thank
forward to
Thank
seeing
you.